the founder of Vietnamese Embroidery. The story of Dr. Tran Quoc Khai. 1. Tran Quoc Khai in his youth. Ancient tales recount that when he was still young, Tran Quoc Khai was a boy with an intense love of learning. He studied even while gathering firewood or casting shrimp nets. At night, when his family had no oil lamp, he would catch fireflies and put them into an eggshell to use their light for reading books. Whatever he studied, he memorized thoroughly, and he soon became known throughout the region for his learning. At the age of 18, Tran Quoc Khai was seized by village officials and forced to work on reinforcing the Red River Dike. Because he was physically weak and unable to carry heavy clods of earth, he was punished and made to stand buried up to his legs in the dike from morning until noon. At that time, an official in charge of the dike happened to pass by. Seeing that Khai was handsome in appearance yet punished in such a manner, the official found it strange and stopped to ask, "What crime have you committed to deserve such punishment?" The young man Khai replied respectfully, "I am a student. Being weak, I could not carry the heavy earth, so I was punished." The official, who himself possessed some learning, smiled and said, "If you are truly a scholar, I will give you a parallel sentence. If you can respond properly, I will let you go." The young man nodded in agreement. The official then recited, "The Mandarin inspects, plants persimmon trees by the main road, controls the floods, so the people may rely on him." This line was cleverly constructed, containing the names of 4 fruits: persimmon, banana, roseapple, and K. Tran Quoc Khai immediately replied, "The youth of Khai Dong passes the imperial exam, earns the title of Bang Nhan, assists the king, and only then finds true satisfaction." His response likewise included 4 fruits: mandarin orange, longan, bo quan, and orange. Hearing this, the official nodded in admiration and released him. From then on, Tran Quoc Khai's reputation for scholarship grew even greater. Before long, when the imperial examination was held, he traveled to take the exam and passed, earning the degree of doctor. Thus, from a village boy who once gathered firewood and cast shrimp nets, his love of learning transformed him into a doctor and a high-ranking official in the La Dynasty court. People would later say, "Even gravelly land can yield gold," referring to such remarkable cases. 2. Tran Quoc Khai as an envoy to the Ming court. On one occasion, Tran Quoc Khai was appointed by the La court as an envoy to the Ming dynasty in China. Along the journey, Ming officials sought to test the Vietnamese delegation by leading them away from the main road and into remote forest paths. When they reached mountainous regions and valleys, the delegation ran out of provisions. Tran Quoc Khai ordered bamboo to be cut and woven into fish traps and baskets, then sent the soldiers to catch fish in streams and gather fruit from the forest. Thanks to this resourcefulness, the delegation passed safely through the wilderness and arrived at the Ming capital in good health. After Tran Quoc Khai had an audience with the Ming emperor and completed his diplomatic mission, the Ming court decided to test the intelligence of the Dai Viet envoy once more. They ordered a very tall pavilion to be built and invited him to climb up. Once he reached the top, the Ming soldiers removed the ladder, leaving him stranded alone above the ground, surrounded only by clouds and whistling winds. Looking around, he saw 2 gilded statues, a jar of drinking water, and 2 ceremonial parasols placed before an altar. Outside the pavilion hung an embroidered banner bearing 3 raised characters, Fat Tai Tam. The Buddha is in one's heart. In one corner lay 2 fresh bamboo poles and a knife. One day passed, then another. Alone in the deserted pavilion, hungry with no food except a jar of water, he thought to himself, "If there is water to drink, there must also be food." He looked at the banner and softly repeated, "The Buddha is in one's heart." Smiling, he broke off a piece of one statue and tasted it, only to discover that the statues were made of che lamb, a sweet rice confection. From then on, he calmly ate from the 2 statues twice a day. Naturally industrious, and unwilling to remain idle, he split the bamboo and practiced weaving parasols. He carefully observed every detail of their construction, committing the techniques to memory. He also used bamboo tubes to boil water. Once he had mastered the making of parasols, he took down the embroidered banner and examined the golden threads to learn the embroidery technique. With skillful hands and great patience, he reused the threads to embroider the banner anew. When finished, he was delighted to see that the embroidered characters were just as beautiful as before. In this way, he taught himself the techniques of raised embroidery and parasol making. After he had finished the statues and drunk all the water, he sought a way to descend. One afternoon, while watching bats swoop and glide through the air like drifting leaves, he conceived an idea and fixed his gaze on the 2 parasols. Gathering his courage, he grasped the parasols and leapt down safely to the ground. Impressed by the intelligence and adaptability of the Dai Viet envoy, the Ming court expressed great admiration. The Ming emperor held a grand banquet to bid farewell to the Vietnamese delegation. Upon returning home, Tran Quoc Khai was richly rewarded by the La Court for his merits. He was granted the title of Minister of Public Works in Tai Bao, and was bestowed the royal surname La, hence becoming known as La Cong Hanh. 3. The founder of Vietnamese embroidery. In his later years, although serving as a high-ranking minister at court, La Cong Hanh often returned to his homeland to teach the people the crafts of embroidery and parasol making in Kite Dong village, as well as in nearby villages such as Tam Zay, Vo Lang, Hong Duong, and Dao Zay. Gradually, through the artisans of the Thuong Tin region, now part of Hanoi, embroidery spread throughout the country. To honor his great contributions, local people built temples to worship him and revered him as the founder of Vietnamese embroidery. Tran Quoc Khai, 1606–1661, was a native of Kite Dong village, Thuong Tin district, Hanoi. He served under King Le Chan Tong, 1643–1659, and was sent as an envoy to the Ming dynasty in 1646. He later held the position of Minister of Public Works, overseeing national craftsmanship and industry. Having been granted the royal surname, he was also known as La Cong Hanh. He is widely venerated as the founder of Vietnamese embroidery, and a temple dedicated to him still stands in his homeland. The stories told about him, while bearing elements of folklore, vividly reflect the admiration and gratitude of the people for his life and legacy.